All right, so we're recording this 4 o'clock, around 4 o'clock, 4:30, June 3rd on Wednesday. You already know who it is and what this is. It's the Backstage Brawl. I'm your boy, John Louis. With our usual suspects, we got the People's Champion, a.k.a. Randy Lewis. We got Diamond Cutter, a.k.a. Eric B. We got Kid Dynamite, a.k.a. Tyler Hicks, with some more people coming along later. And obviously, we're going to discuss some wrestling here. But before, we get into it, it would be remiss of us if we didn't discuss the social issues that are happening today, as well as the response that has happened with the wrestling community. Now, clearly everyone knows what's been happening over the past couple of weeks with George Floyd, amongst the others who have lost their lives due to police brutality. Just like open floor, just your thoughts in regards to this situation.
As it pertains to police brutality and George Floyd, first and foremost, rest in peace to the lives that were slain. And there was one last night who was slain as well in my city, Brooklyn, in New York. So rest in peace to that young man who lost his life at the hands of the cops. Unfortunately, it's a continual situation that I wish had a finality to it in terms of a resolution to it, but it doesn't. Unfortunately, we live in a country for the last, 240 plus years of continually made the same mistakes that their predecessors have made, when they first brought, indigenous people from Africa here. So it's unfortunate that the ugly roots of our country's history is repeating itself yet again in the new millennia at this time in our lives. It's just unfortunate at the end of the day. And what's even crazy is the fact that, we're not even 60 years removed from the civil rights movement, and it's still continuing. And it's sad that people who see this happening and understand what's going on doesn't choose to, speak up or call people out on, what they see. They would just either want the status quo to continue or just to be, or just support what is in terms of the what's really deep rooted, or like the standard bearer for what they see as a just society in terms of people of color, Black people, brown people. But in this case, for Black people who are continually getting slain, it's just unfortunate that we continue to always go through something like this. And for me, on the wrong side of 20, I'm approaching my 30s, in a couple of years, this is still happening. And, you would wish that we would have some form of change by now. And there's only so much you can say, because as much as I want to say more, I'm still speechless because it's still happening. There's a lot of angst, there's a lot of feelings, emotion, there's anger, but it's just hard to put into words in terms of, how I feel or how the general consensus feels, because it's still continuing. And, now more than ever, we need allies to help really support us in this fight, and to really try to call people out. There should be accountability on police officers and people in government, and it's been long overdue. Enough's enough, and this is where we're at right now.
It's funny you bring up the accountability factor, because some weird way it does tie into professional wrestling, because like all of professional wrestling and all the entertainment industries, there are people too of all colors and skin tones. And now Jaxson Ryker of the Forgotten Sons, he happened to post something in regards to a pro-Trump, presidential stance. A lot of people came out, including some former professional wrestlers, and Batista, as well as current stars like Mustafa Ali came aboard. Just touch on what you guys think about the Ryker situation, and how that you saw the people give him some feedback, some reactions.
The whole Jaxson Ryker situation For people who don't know who Jaxson Ryker is, that is Gunner from TNA. Basically, you know, I don't know who tweeted it out to him, but somebody said you have the opinion. I think it was Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens said that you have the right to have your opinion. But basically, in so many words, he was just like, your opinion is shit. Because right now, what we're going on in America, as far as just us as a minority, it's disgusting. It's disgusting how we're being targeted. It's disgusting that we have to go to such extreme lengths to just get our point across, to say, you know, we're being harmed and attacked, and, you know, stop, basically. It's sickening. So to see somebody who you work with that is basically so pro-Trump, it's almost shocking, because you walk past this person every day. It's not like you don't work with this person. It's not like you don't you've met this person on the street. You really literally walk past them every day. You probably train with them every day, and it's sickening to even think that they agree with someone who basically is starting a race war within America, who's basically telling everybody, saying, hey, I don't view you as people. I view you how I view you. I have my own opinion about you. And, you know, kind of getting off a little bit off topic, he's even gone on the record to say that, you know, if, you know, the rioting and everything continues, he's going to send out, you know, military bases to basically control us, which is wrong. But as far as Jaxson Ryker goes, behind the scenes, I feel like there are more people who are pro-Trump. It's just nobody really wants to say anything. Certain tweets like that can't come out. Like, you can't, certain things you have to keep to yourself. And, you know, that's one of the things, and these, especially with all the events that have happened, and they're so fresh, like this just happened. It's like, you can't sit up here and come out and be so supportive of Trump. And then your own stablemates are not even agreeing with you. So now, when you get back, we all know how backroom politics work in wrestling. Now, when you get back into the locker room, you get back into the fold after all of this has happened, your whole locker room is going to look at you differently. This may mess up your push with your own stablemates. This looks like is that they were primed to have a tag team run within maybe, we're in June, maybe within the next month or so. They were primed to have a tag team run, which is looking like. But now with these tweets, who knows? They might not even get time on TV anymore. They might take Jaxson Ryker out completely. They might even release him. Who knows what's going to happen?
Oh, boy. First off, y'all, I love y'all, man. Lord. This has been some of the most taxing stuff of my life, period. And it is annoying that we have to keep reminding people how apparent this is, even though the writing's been on the wall, written in blood for a very long time. In terms of the Jaxson Ryker situation, I know he's had this gimmick for a minute because, you know, I'm a ninja. You know, I'll be looking at people's stuff for long periods of time because when I find talents that I enjoy, I get attached. And I respect them, and I try to follow them and support them the best that I can, you know? So, you know, I see the tweets and this and that. And, you know, some people brought up the fact, you know, maybe it's just his gimmick. And I'm just sitting here like, as a wrestling fan, I really do understand where you're coming from when you say, you know, gimmick, work in the business, this and that. Yeah, this isn't one of those times. This isn't working the business. This isn't really a matter of opinion anymore. This is a moral situation where it's like, even if it wasn't, the stuff that you put on Twitter, like even if you don't take social media seriously, right? Your stuff is documented forever. And when you're on a certain platform and you have a huge following, people screenshot your shit. It will never go away. So for you to say that, and I think it was it wasn't too long after, you know, he tweeted that not too long after the, you know, martial law was put into effect either. least from what I remember, I think it was done around the time of Trump saying, yeah, we're going to send troops in to stop y'all for thugs and pretty much from doing what you're doing. It's like, from every angle you could look at it, moral, strategic, like, it was just a stupid move. It was a stupid thing to say, even if it was genuinely from your heart or you were doing it as a gimmick. It was stupid to say, and you have a whole locker room full of people of different races, backgrounds, and cultures that all suffer from the same issue. Us especially, but you also have other people in there who feel very similarly. A lot of the movements that kind of came afterwards in terms of like plight and whatnot were inspired off of some of the movements we did. Jaxson Ryker, you made a terrible mistake. You selfishly didn't think of the people that you were hurting. You didn't think of the people that you're hurting directly in terms of people that are going through these issues. You didn't think about your friends because, like Eric brought up, you're pushing, and a lot of what your future might hold could be on the line. And I do agree. There's some people in the company who are Trump supporters, and they don't want to come out. I mean, the owner of the company is best friends with the guy. Yeah. We know what we're dealing with for the most part, outside of a few names that haven't been named yet. But even so, the fact that you had the comfort to put out that tweet and not care about it that much and look at it as like, oh, this is a simple thing I can do like that makes my blood boil more than anything else from it. The comfort you have in doing that. So
me and Gene from the live undisclosed area, we have you here. Obviously we're talking about the Jaxson Ryker situation. Just a quick thoughts on like what he said, how you see the superstars who basically came back and responded to his tweets. The floor is yours, brother.
Okay, so I don't usually follow, like, when it comes to like celebrities, wrestlers, all the other stuff. I don't usually follow them, like they're like what they say and whatever. So it was brought to my attention because like yesterday when I was doing a video on Nia Jax, had like a bunch of few people coming up to me saying, yo, Jaxson Ryker said da 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 da. So I looked up what he said and I was like I'll be honest with y'all, like what my man Ty was saying, like that was a bad move. Like he should not. I don't think he should have tweeted that, especially after like when I looked at his tweet, I looked at, okay, like what exactly is he supporting right now? So you go to POTUS's Twitter and you see what he's talking about, and I'm like, yeah, Jaxson, I don't think you should honestly be supporting that kind of action. Like I get that he's a Trump supporter, like, and he like the way his mindset works, I completely understand it. So to him, his own opinion, but to like the majority of other people, just gonna be like, dude, like that was not a cool thing to say. You're being a dick with what you're talking about right now. And then you have the wrestlers like the Kevin Owens, Ricochets, a bunch of other people, even the independent wrestlers just coming at him, yo, bro, like that's not a cool move. You should not have done that. Even though I think Kevin Owens' tweet was probably the funniest one. He was like, you're forgotten no more thing is a shitty catchphrase anyway. So for you to use it in a tweet was just like, bro, like really? So I get the frustration, but I also look at it in a business sense, because look, like I know Eric was talking about like Jaxson Ryker probably getting his push, like his group getting de-pushed or whatever. But I can tell you honestly right now, Biggie, I don't see them not getting pushed. If anything, I could see them getting pushed more out of this, just because Vince McMahon is a known Trump supporter. Like the guy, they love each other. These two are just buddy. So anybody coming out supporting Trump in this wrestling business, he's not gonna take any offense to it. If anything, I could see him basically applauding it. Like it's not a good move for Jaxson Ryker to tweet that kind of shit. But in terms of what Vince McMahon to look at, he's gonna be like bro, like this doesn't affect me. Like obviously, when Jaxson Ryker goes to the locker room, a lot of people gonna probably hate his shit. Like they probably want to stand to be in his presence. But if you can translate this, I honestly, if I was them, like I would translate this to put this like to get this kind of heel heat on the guy, because like I've always said, Jaxson Ryker is the type of person that should be a single star. When this Forgotten Sons crap is over, he's gonna be the star out of that group. There's no doubt about it. And if they end up wanting to use this to get him that massive heel heat, because I'm talking about like what he said right there is like reminds me of like a Muhammad Hassan heel heat. Like if they brought this kind of shit on TV, that's the kind of heat that he would get off of this. So I personally, like, I'm not going to do personally, like, business sense, I would use it to, like, get him, like, heel over as in his company. I'm talking about, like, back in the day kind of heel, where they despise the very ground that you walk on. They would spit in your direction. Like, I would use it in a business sense, but if we're talking about personally, like, you know, as a brother right here, I'm like, bro, like, what you said was not cool. You probably shouldn't have tweeted that, and he's getting slandered on Twitter for it. Like, I just checked his Twitter page, honestly. I just checked his Twitter page before I even saw you guys, and I'm like, ever since that tweet and, like, I think some other thing he talked about, he hasn't tweeted anything since. I know Donald Trump's son basically supports what he said, and of course, it ends up getting even more heel heat from the guy. So it's like, personally, not a big fan of him saying that because of what President Trump is supporting. But in a business sense, I would use it to catapult him as, like, the top heel of this company. But that's my opinion.
And, you know, like, the funny part about it is like, we've seen over the years, like, there's almost no bounds that the company would go to basically do this. They had Sergeant Slaughter way back when turn into a Iraqi sympathizer and become champion off of that. You know, they had the aforementioned Muhammad Hassan thing. I'd like to say, before we just close this section up, you know, at least one thing to seek solace out of this whole thing is something that I feel is the biggest part, like the biggest thing that we need as a whole, black, white, you know, yellow, whatever, is the fact that the people who are coming at him, beside, you know, like the you know, people that share the skin tone of you and I, is the people of his skin tone. And I think that's that like, more of that, please. I think that, you know, we've probably had coworkers, friends, classmates, all those things that, you know, we consider, you know, confidants of different skin tones. I think that now more than ever, there's the point in time where, you know, if you consider us as confidants, if you consider us friends, if we can consider us anything, then you basically need to practice what you preach. And I feel like the wrestlers, you know, such as a Kevin Owens coming out and saying that, basically, and CM Punk as well on Backstage, you know, his soliloquy, essentially brought to the table like, oh, you know, you practice on what you preach, you mean business with the situation, and you are pushing for a change. We need more of it, and we need more of those people to combat. And it's not talking to us, because you're not giving us anything that we already don't know, you know, that we don't go through. It's you by yourself speaking with people who look like you. And I'm talking about, you know, people that don't share the skin tone of you and I. You know, for them to have those conversations with them without us there. Because if you have that conversation when we're not around, that shows me more trust and more support than anything. Because that's essentially what happened with the George Floyd situation. It's essentially what's happened, you know, I'm pretty sure in the backstage area, you know, Vince McMahon. It's like, you can evoke certain things, but if you're a person that's not of color, that doesn't agree with it, that doesn't take a person aside and say, hey, this isn't right, then you are just as much of the problem. So I'm happy that there's some talent that's basically taking the due diligence and bringing that to light. I do want to shift gears off of this topic and into some wrestling, especially of this past week, because a lot of things obviously has taken place. We had the Jeff Hardy storyline that basically was polarizing without a shadow of a doubt. We had the Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley feud, you know, kicking into high gear. You know, NXT saw, you know, potentially one of the greatest NXT matches in this year, let alone the entirety of NXT. And AEW had a kick-ass show. Guys, what's your general thoughts on this past week in the wonderful world of wrestling?
Let the champ touch on it.
Speak on it, champ.
First things first. SmackDown. Before we get to Raw. Sorry, Eric. SmackDown. Man. I mean, the beginning of SmackDown, I know people are going to look at that as, you know, messed up, considering how the situation just happened and Jeff's situation in general, because Rebeat Sky tweeted something out.
He's still in that court case. He is still in that court case too.
You know, but I ain't gonna lie, son. Like, that was a really creative way to basically lure you in to watch SmackDown. Because, tell me not, before you even turn it on channel Fox 5 or wherever, you know, whoever's watching, wherever they're from in terms of state, when you turn it on Fox, you're used to waiting for, you know, the intro and a possible promo, like a 10 to 15-minute promo to kick off the night, right? So when you saw Braun Strowman being interviewed, I'm like, hey, what's going on? And I'm seeing, like, Elias going on a gurney, the Jeff Hardy thing. It's like everybody played it off so well. Like, you know how sometimes WWE, some of them, they don't be selling the moment. They sold the hell out of that moment to kick off the show. And I'm missing the name right now. Adam Pearce. There we go. Adam Pearce. Because people were like, yo, who's that guy? Who's that bald guy that's, you know, standing tall and, you know, giving directions? I like the fact that Adam Pearce is one of those guys backstage that basically quelled the talent down and set the tone for the show. That set the tone for the Battle Royal, which made for a very good SmackDown. Like, one thing I was kind of like sad about was the fact that my boy Jay didn't get the opportunity to come to be a number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship, to move on to move on in that tournament rather than just having Sheamus and Daniel Bryan.
Hey, there's a reason for that though. You know, we had Sheamus. Sheamus basically has that little storyline, so more on that later. But
yeah, because somehow, some way, you know, 9 years later, you just can't separate Daniel Bryan and Sheamus. But to continue with that, like, it gave a breath of fresh air creatively. And I gotta and I'm pretty sure Jeremy Borash was responsible backstage as a producer. Tim Pritchett, obviously, who's done a great job. He's definitely done a great job, you know, in terms of what he's doing on SmackDown. So that gave SmackDown a great tone to go on. NXT. I mean, what can we say about NXT, guys? Like, for real. Like, that cage match? Tell me not. That cage match is probably one of the best things that you've seen all year thus far. You know, with COVID included, you know, with everything that's going on. Like, this has probably been the best match you've seen thus far. Thatcher and Riddle, you were sucked into it. Like, it felt real. Like, 5 minutes into the match, Riddle, like, kicked the dude's 2 front teeth out. And I'm like, hold on. Like, and just to think, we just saw the dark side of the ring where, like, you know, the whole, you know, who's the toughest, that little brawl for all type of competition. And here we are with a Lions Den type match, and the way the cage was set up. I'm like, in the back of my head thinking for NXT, I hope it's not the last one, and I like the cage setup. You know, and Raw was good as well, especially this past Raw. Obviously, the Nia Jax situation that Gene touched upon earlier. They made a video for.
He next. he next. That's what we here for. He next.
So, so, you know, aside from the Nia situation, you know, Raw's been pretty good as of late. Drew's been built pretty well. I love what MVP is doing, his role, what he's doing with, you know, Bobby. And I know he has something up his sleeve because MVP is a true student of the game. So if you know something is up, he has an ace up his sleeve. He may have Bobby right now, like, as the man going for the top title, but he got someone on the back burner, you know, like whether it be a tag team or a mid-card single star. Don't be surprised. In the words of Booker T, don't be surprised, dog, if you see Apollo Crews join MVP and the guy, Bobby Lashley.
He said that you brought them back because as soon as, like, Matt Riddle came in your mouth, like, they were just, like, looking around. They were like, you know, and you didn't even mention the fact that you lost that match. So, like, you lost them. Mean Gene, let's talk about this chat's favorite Samoan, Miss Nia Jax.
Roman Reigns? Oh, sorry.
He would have thought, speaking that black man.
I mean, hey, listen. We can sit here and call a spade a spade.
Mm-hmm.
Nia Jax, you got the situation. You know, you have a little. We know that you're history with Roman Reigns is very, very well documented. But the one Samoan that you love, doesn't seem to love her opponents.
What the hell is wrong with you? Wait a minute. Wait a goddamn second. Hold up. You giving Roman Reigns crap for a month and a half, and Nia Jax is the one you.
Let him talk, man.
Beat your ass.
Bro. Hey, Now, first off, you need to know where he at. Ain't nobody go. It's undisclosed.
Nobody knows.
Nah, Gene, you know it's all love. Just drop my hat.
Yeah, man. I was waiting for Jay's question. What's your question?
So, in regards to her situation, like there was reports that came out that some coworkers were pushing for Nia to basically not get the push that she's had, the title match that she's had, and even potentially get fired. Your personal thoughts on that?
Okay, so some of y'all know, Nia Jax, I love her, call her Thick Mama. My whole thing with her is that, like, I like Nia Jax. I'm a big fan of her. I see, like, there is in this company, we can definitely use her for a bunch of stuff, even pushing that whole body positive thing, or just like, she can be good if she's like, I don't want to say trained, right, or just know how to control her strength. Like, for years, I'll be honest with you, I'll be straight up with you, Ty. I ducked the fact that she was doing she was injuring talent left or right. Like, I just tossed it off as like, yeah, you guys are just hating on Nia Jax, or just being trolls and shit, whatever. So it wasn't until this year where I saw that she came back, and she's been gone for like several months. So I'm like, all right, like, during this time, all the hate that she's been getting about not being unsafe, hurting wrestlers and whatever. I've assumed that when she came back, she would be, she'd be better, more adept at that. But then, like, literally, like, a few weeks into her debut, was it, I think, April 20th? Yeah, because I wrote it down on the list. April 20th, which was like a few weeks after she came back, she had a match with Kairi Sane. She does basically the buckle bomb, says buckle bomb shit, and Kairi Sane hurts her head. She hurts it, and at first I was like, maybe I should say something about this. But then I was telling Big E, I said, you know what? I chose not to say anything after all, because it's like, Kairi Sane didn't say anything. She didn't talk about it. She didn't say anything. Like, the reports were like, I know what the reports were saying, or whatever. But I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it. And I told Big E, so he my witness. I told him, I said, if Thick Mama does something one more time, I'm gonna have no choice but to say something. And then I find out, literally a month, like, I think it was like, but like, it didn't even take her that long. It was like a month in. She goes and she has another match with Kairi Sane, and she slams Kairi's head into the steel steps. Now this time, because for those of us who look at the rumors and the rumor mills and the predictions and shit, the spoilers or whatever, they said they taped this show last week, and they said what happened to her, and a lot of people were upset, but we didn't know what exactly happened. Like, even when they tell you, like, even when, like, let's be honest, even when you hear somebody tell you word for word what happens, you'd rather see it for yourself. You'd rather get your full eye to like, okay, so this is what happened. Because, listen to people's stories again, and I'd rather see it face-to-face what happened. So, and we all saw what happened. It was a match on Raw that was shown on Monday, even though it was taped last week, where she took Kairi's head and slammed it into the steel steps. And she ended up getting bloody for it. Now, I didn't realize she was bloody out of it, because, like, they literally edited that whole part out. Like, they went from her getting hit in the steel steps to, like, fast-forwarding to when, like, okay, she's good enough where Nia Jax can put her back in the ring. But I felt like I knew something was wrong, because if you watch, like, the NXT wrestlers who were watching this whole thing and you saw their facial expressions, that probably wasn't a good idea for WWE to show their facial expressions, because when I saw their facial expressions, I said to myself, okay, something bad had to have happened. Something had to have happened, because there's a difference between, like, gasping just for, oh, they want us to gasp when she does something incredible, more so like gasping in horror, like, oh shit, something actually happened here. And I look, and then you see Kairi Sane tweet out, okay, yeah, she basically flat out, like, she didn't say it was like Nia Jax, like, yo, you did this to me. But if you read her tweet, like, she might as well have just said, Nia Jax did this to me, and I'm gonna come back better, stronger than ever. And she admits it, like, this isn't the first time this has happened. So then I said to myself, all right, like, now enough is enough. Like, I have to come on here, and I had to talk about it. And that's when I did the research. Like, I remember I told Biggie, you remember I told you, like, I think, like, when she first did the thing to Kairi Sane, I said, bro, I have the research down. I'm having all of my facts and stuff right there ready to go. So if she pulls this shit off again, I'm going to have to come at her with the smoke. So she does this shit, and I was like, all right, I had to do it, man. I had to do it. I made the video, and if you see the beginning of the video,
the first 2 minutes was hilarious, by the way.
Bro,
Like,
yeah,
I don't want nobody on my live right now.
Yeah, because I was
people on my live. Oh, I can't do it.
I was so serious. I did not want people at this live because I know, dude, you know that, like I was telling you earlier on, they have been waiting for something like this to come out because, you know, like you see all these wrestling personalities on the YouTubes and the Instagram, Facebook, whatever, not taking shots at them, but it's like nobody touches on the shit like even when you're talking about this stuff, they don't really go into it. They just give you names or stuff, whatever, or they like tippy toe off what was going on. Like when I talked about Roman Reigns, like, you know, I said everything. I put it all out there. Not a lot of people. You don't see wrestling personalities doing that. They go either tiptoeing or subject, and then the shit with Nia Jax, they tiptoe that stuff, but they don't flat out tell you, yo, this is what she's done. This is what all the people is. And then I check. Yeah, well, exactly. So you know, like, but me when I future go, we don't do that. I don't do that. When I'm talking about somebody, or when I'm talking like anything, I will flat out tell you straight up what I'm seeing, where my research is coming from, and how I'm looking at this. So I went online. I found 9 victims, and Nia Jax has done this too. But this is on 10 different occasions. Because Kyrie's saying, if you count the thing with Kyrie saying, that makes it 10. So that's 9 superstars, 10 different occasions in the past 3 years. And I had to look it up. Dude, she had victims. She had Charlotte Flair, Ember Moon, Emma, Alexa. Her best friend, Alexa Bliss, got hurt by her, man. And that, to me, that was like, wow. I didn't even know Alexa Bliss got hurt by her, because I thought Alexa Bliss would have been the type of person that she would take care of. Like, she, you know, like, they buddy, bro. So I would not expect to do it to Alexa Bliss, but she's done it to Alexa Bliss. She did it to Becky Lynch. That's probably the most famous of them all, because it was so evident what she did right there. And it's like, bro, like, when you look at all the evidence, it's like, man, like, I can see why the fans were upset this whole time. Before, like I said, I thought it was just them trolling, you know, Nia Jax, they don't like her because she's big, and she's The Rock's cousin, so she's going to get highly favored in the company. So I wasn't even taking, like, their whole thing too seriously. But then you look it up, and you see all of this shit, and I just had to the conclusion, like, guys, Nia Jax is straight up, she is unsafe. It's not cool for her to work with other wrestlers. Anyone at this point. And I said, and I gave them options. I said they got 4 options. 4 options for Nia Jax. First one, they fire her. I said that because that's what a lot of fans want. A lot of fans want to see her get fired. Even if you check my live stream, if you don't even watch the video, you can just look at the comments. Fire Nia Jax, F her, wish she go die, yada, 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 yada. So that was the first option I presented them. They go fire her. Second option, I said she goes and talks to Awesome Kong, aka Karma, because Awesome Kong dealt with, like, she is this, like, even back in the day, she was similar build, if not bigger than Nia Jax. And when she was in TNA, she worked with a lot of small people, from the beautiful people, Velvet Sky, Angelina Love, to the Taylor Wilde, to Gail Kim. She's worked with people that are shorter than her, that are puny as shit, and yet she has never managed to hurt anybody. Biggie was telling me when I told him about Oscar Wilde, he said that she's probably hurt somebody. And I told him I need him to give me some research, because I looked it up and I have not seen a single case of Karma hurting anybody. I've seen her being injured from shows that she's done, but I've never seen her actually injure somebody. So I tell them she needs to go talk to Awesome Kong. People are telling me, oh, what about the big shows and the Mark Henrys of the company? They can go talk to her. And my thought is that if that was the case, they would have done it a while ago. And I believe that they've already talked to her, and this shit still hasn't changed. Okay, people talking about bringing her to the Performance Center. I can't bring her to the Performance Center because she's been training in the Performance Center for ever since she got here, and they still haven't taught her about controlling her strength. So she needs to go talk to Awesome Kong, go take some tips off of her, what you got to do to mitigate the damage that you're doing to the talent. Third option I presented, she goes to Japan and learns how to work with the smaller people, because the Japan people over there, they don't fuck with y'all. They got some small talent over there, but they know, like a guy like a person like Nia Jax, she coming in here and she does this shit to them. I guarantee you, they gonna whoop her ass over there. They definitely gonna whoop her ass, and they're gonna let her know. They're gonna let her know that this is how you're supposed to learn how to train. Because when Awesome Kong, before she started in TNA, she went to Japan to hone her craft, and she came back here, and, like, again, not a single issue that was going on with her. And then I presented Choice D, which was the option personally for me, which is, you know, she may be sexually deprived. So I said to myself, bro, I know these Florida men don't be doing it, like, don't be giving it out there. So
wait, hold up, time out.
We
I
just not
understand.
gonna walk past that like you ain't
Not
saying
exactly.
Hold
So,
on, Gene. Wait a minute.
I gave
don't.
her
I don't.
4
Whoa,
options.
whoa, 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 whoa.
Wait
Yo!
wait a second. Wait a minute. Wait a
Yo,
minute.
so,
What's the
Ty,
matter with
Gene.
you?
This is, wait, hold on. This is Enter the Angel Garza segment of the week, ladies and gentlemen, where we just talk about some
Trophy,
sexual
it's
endeavors.
trophy,
Continue.
Gene, wait, hold up, Gene. Look,
Ty, what's up?
I'm gonna keep it 2 Virgils with you.
Mhm.
How you had me going?
Mhm.
Because I was ready to smack you before you started your speech. And then you came in and you were like, you know what? No, this is what Gene does. This is like we give him that 5-day wait policy where it's like he get angry first, and then we give him 5 days to explain himself, and we remind ourselves, no, you come in with the facts, and you come in, you respectful, this and that, not like you got what you're saying, like what you're saying wasn't wrong, but god damn it, if you had just taken point number 4 or D or whatever the hell, I'm mad D was the letter you used talking about sexual deprivation. That doesn't help either. I don't. We have to edit all this out. There's no. We can't. This can't see the light of day. What are you?
Hey, bro, I said
What?
it in the live stream. I'm gonna say it here. Keep the flight up. Straight
What?
up with you guys.
Keep it 2 Virgils.
Same energy.
That's to keep it 2 Virgils. Man. So,
but hold on, wait. Before you do that, but Ty, what did you think of the other 3 options though? When I said they either fire her, she talks to Awesome Kong, or she goes to Japan. What are your thoughts about that?
I got a 5-day wait policy for the suffering. I suffered at point for it. No, I'm joking. I'm gonna be real with you, man. Okay, first things first. Before I even dissect what you said, much love and shout outs to Kairi Sane, because the shit that she's been going through these past couple months, dating back to the even a little bit before the concussion in December during TLC. You know what I'm saying? Like she'd been through it all.
Yeah.
Between, it doesn't even have to be said. It's understood. Nia Jax will always have the ability, similar to like the Usos or Jeff Hardy, to kind of always have a spot because they're such a unique talent. Like the Usos are one of those like, we can rely on you tag teams, sort of like what Macho Man was in '92 after Hogan left. He was the type of guy you could rely on to have the championship while they were looking to build other pieces, right? The Usos are those people in the tag division where it's like, we know we got you because we're always going to bring our best and we're going to make everything work. Nia Jax has a similar spot where it's like, she's such a unique individual from her look alone that she stands out in the women's division. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't see much credibility in her left, not just because of the backstage stuff, but only because like they did some big show-esque things with her where they had her like look weak in places where she shouldn't have, tap out when she shouldn't have.
Those matches that she had with Sasha Banks when she lost, I was like shaking my head, bro.
I
was
told
like,
you,
Nia Jax should not be losing to Sasha Banks on any circumstances.
I told you when we were in the car rides and we had our conversations, man. Like, this is an individual that you got to make her moments count, and they suck at using people like that, those bigger names. Where it's like they're always afraid of booking them into a corner. It's like, if you're booked too strong, how do we kill you off? Or if we book you too weak, how do we make you credible again? Now, that's her on screen. Off, like in terms of her work rate, I think you made some fair points, because I was going to bring up the Japanese discipline thing as well. In Japan, a lot of workers come out they come out very refined. Because you brought up Awesome Kong, and when you brought up Awesome Kong, I was like, the difference between her and Awesome Kong is, one, Awesome Kong's passion for wrestling is unparalleled. And she learned how to. She also had the benefit of working with somebody not just smaller than her, but when she went over to Japan, she also learned from someone just like her, Aja Kong. If you know who Aja Kong is outside of the AEW appearances, she definitely played a huge role, if not the inspiration for what Awesome Kong would be. Shout outs to Awesome Kong. She don't get enough credit and talk about Awesome.
Shout out to Globe. Shout out to all of that.
I wish
like awesome. All of that. Yes. Awesome Kong was very refined, and she had a moveset that was so unique. A girl like her throwing spinning back fists, which she also most likely got from Aja Kong, and doing the moves that she did, she was a complete wrestler. Exactly. Nia Jax is still like, whether we like to admit it or not, she's still in the infancy of her wrestling career, because she hasn't really done, like, when I saw her in NXT, she had a lot of potential, like the matches with Asuka, the way she carried herself down there, it seemed to be the Nia we all kind of wanted. And I agree with everyone when I say that she got called up too soon.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
You know, Vince has been doing too much of that in the women's division
Facts.
and NXT in general. But my thing with Nia Jax that annoys me the most is that you had so much time off, and you had, you know, the double knee thing, you had the double Achilles thing, the double lower body to your legs type injury. I can't remember it specifically right now.
ACL.
I think it was both of those
ACL,
guys.
ACL.
It was basically
So a
both
lot of
those
that
guys.
time you were going to be immobile anyway. But I really wanted her to stay off TV even longer, just to continue to refine herself, because they have world-class trainers over there in the Performance Center. And someone like her, and I know Sarah Amato, no, they have what was it? They have Sarah Del Rey, and they have Dark Angel, Sarita from TNA.
Serena, was it the Straight Edge Society girl?
No, not Serena. What's her name from TNA? The one that became Knockouts Tag Champion with Taylor Wilde. I'm forgetting that name. I know her other name. Yeah, those two are unbelievable talents. And on top of that, all the male trainers as well, the guest trainers that come in. It is a matter of she doesn't know her own strength, and she has been very reckless. Kyrie's been on the receiving end of a lot. Yes, you brought up a lot of other individuals that have been attacked. My thing is, like, it's really at this point, we're not going to take it upon herself to get better. The company has to step in now. Because I know there's the recent report of, like, you know, the buckle bomb is banned.
And that's because of her.
And, you know, well, she was the final straw that broke the camel's back, but, you know, they also plan on getting rid of it because of the Sting situation with Seth.
Yeah. I mean, didn't they get rid of it for like a bit, but then they brought it back? Because Seth wasn't using it for like months.
They did have like a little small, I think it was like probably a 2-month layover.
Yeah, and I think it was after the Sting thing. They just like didn't use it for months. And then like I think after a while, Seth slowly started bringing it back. And then they just said, all right, we good, man.
I mean, but then again, during that time, Seth also did tear his ACL.
That was a meme of it. Well, it was the sunset flip buckle bomb, not so much the buckle bomb.
No, but I'm just saying him not being there after the ACL tear also.
Right. Yeah. So, like, Seth's moveset being stalled in so many different areas is a meme at this point. But my point being with Nia Jax, I'm proud of you. You basically said what we all wanted to say. I'm glad it came from your lips. Personally, because your ass pisses me off sometimes with some of these opinions.
Yes, sir.
The fact that you don't know, yes, sir. No, you need.
He said, "This is mean, man. This is mean.
No.
This is not Tyler talking to Mean Gene. This is mean. This is Beanie Man Jr. talking."
Bro, Triple H said if you ain't pissing somebody off, you ain't doing your job. So
I'm your friend. This ain't a business. I don't.
Oh, I love you too, bro. I love you too, bro.
No, but I love you too, man. It's just I'm happy you said it, because there have been a lot of people who are in denial about it. You know, I've gone under the philosophy, like, wrestling to me, I like my wrestling ugly. I like it to hurt but not injure. You know, like, I like the realism of the hits. You know, I'm not a big fan of the thigh slaps. I don't like the CTE, like, let me mess you up with a roundhouse type mentality all the time, like you sometimes see in Japan. But I do like the core of it having that impact and showing the sport aspect of it and how this really does hurt. And with Nia Jax, the recklessness of it breaks the illusion, not the illusion, but it breaks the art of it, of how to be physical enough to pull off what you do, but not too physical to the point where you're injuring people and taking staff off of their job, off of the roster, and putting them on the bench. And with Nia, you know, honestly, I don't have a lot of faith that is going to change, because, you know, like you said earlier with the Jaxson Ryker situation, sometimes these real world issues that need to be, like, addressed, Vince just translates it into heat. Like, he just kind of goes back into that old school mentality of, like, oh, they don't like her for this and that reason, let's capitalize on it. And in some cases it can work. They tried to make her her face breaker, or like, she had a nickname to go along with punching.
Dude, that was like, she did not get over with that shit at all.
No, she really got. Like, and here's the thing, like, not all heat is the same type of heat. Well, everybody knows that. History will make it look like it was, because, you know, the boos are boos. But if you were there, you knew, like, Nia Jax is getting booed not because she's a heel, not because she's doing her role, but she's getting booed because we genuinely want her gone for a period of time to fix herself, or gone in general. So I'm glad you said it. Saved us a lot of air. Because if you had said otherwise, it's 4-1. and you are from an undisclosed location, but we can find you.
Yeah, we see, dude, and that's the thing. I had to say it at this point, and it's funny because like if you like I said, if you don't even watch the live stream, you just go to the comments. You can tell these people were waiting for this kind of video because usually when I put videos on the 434, they get like it takes a while for them to get to like, let's say like a 20, 30K, whatever the hell like that. At like for like today, for example, if I did one today and then I waited till tomorrow, it'd probably get like around 3-4K views. I just checked like while we were doing the previous segment. I just went to go check. That thing's already gotten like 17K views. Like mad people are just chiming in, putting their shit on here, and I'm like, yeah, this is something we're waiting to see. And I'm just like, that's the kind of thing you're gonna get with me, guys. Like if it starts becoming a problem, it becomes a problem to the fans, to the wrestlers, to the money. Like I have to say.
Roman comes back.
Wait,
Yeah,
hold up now. No,
he's
we have a
problem to the money.
25-day policy with that. We gonna wait like a month and a half. That's not mad.
I mean, dude, I'm not even on his ass anymore because I got AJ back. And he gone because this is what I wanted. I said we needed to bring AJ back because AJ is a SmackDown guy. He was barely doing shit on Raw, if we're being honest. The only highlight AJ has had on Raw was when he had that Money in the Bank match with Seth Rollins. That's it.
He's really trying to win me over here because I've been saying this for a year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's a SmackDown guy?
He shouldn't have moved in the first place. He shouldn't have moved in the first. Like, they literally was like, "Oh, we want the match with Seth." We could have worked towards that at Survivor. Look, I'm getting off topic.
Dead ass, dude. I was saying that. I feel like that's like when I saw him get transferred, and I saw them immediately put him with Seth Rollins. I said, "This is why they wanted him there. They don't want him for anything else, just to get the Seth Rollins match." And I agree with you. It would have been much better. I know, but it would have. And don't get me wrong, like the match was fantastic. It was, and I love the fact that there was no shitty finish, no DQ, no count. Like it was just a straight up wrestling match from beginning to end. It was clean. Everybody loved the hell. If it wasn't for the Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano 2 out of 3 falls match, I'd have put that as match of the year for WWE last year. But you know that Gargano Cole match was on fire. But like
we probably views there when we see
you done lost me now. I was with you until you said that.
What match would you have put as that match of the year last year?
I don't want any of those 4 people in the main event scene NXT no more.
Thigh slap. Remember the thigh slap? That's what.
When I saw Johnny Gargano chop somebody in thigh slap at the time of chopping, I like all of my childhood crumbled. I was like, Ric Flair didn't, blade for this. This isn't what this ain't it. Like let me tell you something, man. I appreciate the fact that you hold yourself accountable. A lot of fans don't. In a time where normalizing changing opinions is damn near impossible because everybody want to bring out receipts like they just bought something from the Target.
Yeah.
You at least have the ability to come on here and admit when you're wrong.
Dude,
okay? If you didn't do it, I would have slapped the wrong out of you.
Oh, I know you would have came after me, Ty. That's why we gotta keep it straight up 100, man. If you causing me problems, you causing the fan problems, you causing the messing with the money, like bro, I got to come after you. I don't care if I'm a fan favorite of yours, anything. Like if you're doing something that I don't like and it's really starting to become a problem, I gotta say something. If I was initially like on your side and I didn't like ignored all the shit, like what you said, how you said that, I'm owning up to my shit. Like when I said with Nia Jax, where like I just ignored what everybody was saying, and then now I look at it and I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, you were right. This is not cool, and it has to end. And I'm hoping it does end because I think now that like I'm not saying you have that Gene, the Future Goat has such major clout that he can like Vince will just look at this video and say, fuck it, like let's start talking to Nia Jax right now. Probably not. But I'm hoping with now that the conversation is like coming to the point where it's like, all right, we gotta say something. That Vince and Triple H can just pull Nia, Vince and or Triple H, pull her aside like, yo, like this is not cool. You hurt too much talent right now, and we gotta talk. We gotta do something because I think people are saying that there's no chance she could get fired. I honestly don't believe that because if Vince had no problem getting rid of Austin and The Rock, I think he's shown that he will get rid of anybody if you become too much of a problem.
Now Austin left.
I know Austin. I know
John Laurinaitis fired The Rock.
No, you're right. No, like honestly, here's my thing. That's the other question, right? Does Nia Jax deserve another chance after blowing a lot of her previous chances? Now let's keep it 100 because I already used 2 Virgils. This is a tough question to answer. And I think it's just the fact that there are some redeeming qualities of Nia Jax that can't be denied, that we can use as pieces in the business.
Mhm.
All she has to do is ease up. Like, don't be so tense about what you're doing, and people will work with you. It's like you have a lot of work to do to get your, people to believe in you again, but
Yeah,
you
I mean,
can make it
go ahead.
work.
I mean, even if she is like the tense person that she is, like there are ways to like, be tense but also be safe. You know what I mean? There are ways you could be safe.
I think a good problem with that, and it may not be as apparent with women's wrestling, but in general, since we have an oversaturation of it, it maybe is the fact that everyone these days have such a vast move arsenal, right? That everyone else, not personally to Nia Jax, but in comparison, everybody else, you talk about the Sasha Banks, the Baileys, all the way down to even like the lower totem pole women on the roster, and especially with the men. Everyone has such a vast move set and a vast arsenal that in a way it kind of trains you to say, I gotta level up in some way. I gotta basically supplement whatever they're bringing to the table with whatever I can. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily translate to a productive match.
I will say this as a closing note as we transition into the next topic. There is one thing from all these scenarios that, for me, can't be denied. And that is the fact that with Kairi Sane having gone through the most this year, I feel like not just from her hard work, but out of obligation at this point, WWEE, you need to integrate her into a top storyline, because I'll be damned if she's called injury prone because of all this mess.
I was gonna bring that up.
Bro, I'm just waiting, bro. I'm just waiting to get Kairi Sane versus Asuka, bro. That
Now,
match
here's
for the Raw Women's Championship would be fire.
That's the funny part. I
wait.
think that it would be smart for them. Like, they could do one or two things. They could have, Kairi be babyface throughout helping Asuka, and then turn on Asuka and be like, I'm tired of being your punching bag because everyone goes after me trying to get to you. You could do that logically. Or you can actually make up for the Bayley thing that you did. Because Bayley was supposed to be the most organic woman's babyface of this generation.
Yeah.
And as she left, Kairi kind of came in, and it's hard not to get behind her to the point where people are all talking about, you got to protect Kairi Sane at all costs, right? Mm-hmm. So if y'all are looking for baby faces, right now you have Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax as your heels. You have Asuka and Liv Morgan. Asuka as a tweener-ish, and then Liv Morgan as one of the people you're pushing really hard right now. Yeah. I would love for Kairi to get into the mix of being one of the top baby faces in the women's division, regardless of show.
I mean, dude, if you were to ask me, like, if you're choosing between Liv Morgan or Kairi Sane, who you pushing as, like, the baby face? I'm honestly going with Kairi Sane because when I look at her, she exhibits what a baby face is so much. Even when I saw her as a heel, I was like, like, she's good. Like, don't get me wrong, like, she's good with when she's speaking Japanese and we can't understand a lick of what she's saying. But it's like, when I look at her, I said, man, I remember you in NXT, and I'm just like, when I saw you there, you were just such a natural babyface. Like, I wanted to cheer for you.
To her credit, she got Sami Zayn'd in the sense that she went in being so good at doing one thing, and then she turned, and you were like, I didn't want the turn, but you were surprised at how good they could play off that role. You were like, I wish we could have done this later.
Yeah, like, she wasn't bad in the heel role. I thought she was pretty good, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I agree with you. She should have stayed a babyface.
Like, when it's time for the Asuka Kairi Sane to stop, I think it should be Kairi Sane that should be the babyface, because Asuka is, what I love about her is that she can do both. She can be one of the best babyfaces on the roster, but she can be such a douchebag heel. But Kairi Sane, when I look at her, I'm just like, you're a babyface to me. Even with all the evil makeup you did, speaking Japanese so we can understand a lick of what you're saying.
Be honest with yourself. You see Kairi Sane, you turn to Brother Love.
No, you turn into Chris Tucker.
Wait, hold up.
Heaven on earth.
We could get together. But you one crazy ass bitch. No.
I can't think of anything with Kairi. She's a married woman, so I respect that.
Most definitely we respect.
I'm glad that stopped you. It didn't stop.
We don't break happy home here at the backstage.
I mean,
I love Kairi.
By the way, happy belated to Juan Montez Ford. I saw the post. That is
I'm getting tired of him. I love Montez Ford. I'm getting tired. I want his happiness. I want like a part. I want a portion of that.
Dude, his wife is like she's like wife of the year to me, because like you would love to have somebody who makes your clothes. Dude, she makes, like, ever since the Street Profit Viking Raiders thing has started, she has made all of Montez Ford's clothes. And I'm like, she's so good at doing it too. Like, she's the perfect wife. She cooks, she cleans, she's a worker,
And she
and
can
I
whip your ass too.
yeah, she can whip
She
my
do
ass.
everything. Triple double.
She could lift me up.
Triple double.
Bro.
Wait, that was part of your requirements? Wait a second.
No,
Wait,
no,
did
it's
you?
not. No. I'm
I
just
was-
letting you know. I'm just letting you know that she, without it, like Montez Ford struck gold with her, and I see her as a big face, a big star in this company. And hopefully, I'm kind of sad she's not on Raw right now. Like she's
she
just
is.
not there. She is. Where is she?
She right.
Yeah, I was like, where the hell is she, man? I would like to see her on Raw. I miss seeing her there. Like
So
she's
if
in
we have-
feud, nothing.
Yo, if we have Liv, Kyrie, and Bianca Belair's baby faces with layers, and then we got Asuka, Shayna, and Nia. That's a good lineup of like.
That's definitely a lineup. They could
That's a
go for
fact.
once.
And by the way, and small side note before we segue, hardest woman song out right now. I ain't gonna lie to you. Every time I
Next
listen,
topic.
goddamn, it's a bop.
Next
It's a
topic.
bop. It's a bop.
What's
Next
on?
topic.
Moving on. Obviously, we have NXT. This weekend they have the NXT In Your House. There was one particular moment or match that stands out to you when you hear In Your House. What would it be?
That's gotta be Kane! That's gotta be Kane, JR! Oh my God, it's Kane! But
Kane
first
is
of all,
the-
that's one of those moments when Kane showed up.
Shout
you
out
got-
to Kane and
you got-
D'Lo Brown
hey.
for having those shoulder walks in the '90s, bro.
Listen, shout out, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it didn't make the video games, but
I mean, after seeing Kane's wife, I can see why he had the pimp walk.
Yeah, we got to keep this professional, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Listen,
next
yeah.
When I think of In Your House, man, The Rock versus Mankind, last man standing match. That went to a draw. That led to a series of matches. You could argue that really took off the Attitude Era during that time. Those two guys were the pillar along with Austin to start the Attitude Era. And that last man standing match, I thought they were legit trying to kill each other. Legit. Rock was.
Rock had a little up. He had a little
quit
up.
match.
He was like, I'm too
The
much
I
of a
Quit
pretty boy.
match,
I need
yo.
my mean streak.
The I Quit match they had, between the last man standing and the I Quit match, those two matches, I really thought those two guys were legit, don't like each other. And it was just like, yo, when we get to the ring, I'm going to whoop your ass. Like, this was going down. You're going to get these hands.
Yeah.
And then, the Hell in a Cell match, Taker and Shawn, we pointed out before we started even recording this, Mankind has been in like almost every In Your House match. And it's
Real
been
MVP right there.
right. It's either been him or Taker that's been in almost every In Your House pay-per-view. And I think Austin is probably right behind them, and then Bret Hart. But most of those guys, man, those are the two matches I think about. Really good
Kid
matches.
Dynamite. When you think of In Your House, what do you think of? Moment or match?
Two matches I think about. We brought it up prior to this, this stream. It was Taker and Michaels from Ground Zero. Talk about Michaels not having no regard for people's safety. Taker and Michaels became a fish out of water that night. Dear God. The other match, this is more like some people remember it, some people don't. It's like more like a hidden gem. I think it was Bret Hart versus Hakushi for the WWF Championship In Your House. And they had a very good match and also a great rematch right after that on Raw. I know most people don't remember that because it's like new generation, but even so, Bret Hart was carrying the company on his back, given some classics. He was really good WWE champion, in my opinion. He made you care about people that you could tell were lower card, but he's trying to make you get as invested as you could in the fights. And shout outs to Hakushi, Jinsei Shinzaki. That dude is one of the greatest to ever do it, and he doesn't get enough credit. He's also one of the best. He does one of the best versions of like that old school rope walk type chop. Like if you ever see in the video games, the one where they do like the praying taunt and he's like walking on the ropes, and that comes from him. Great stuff on that one. Matches were.
Oh, quick thing. I wanted to add one thing in terms of In Your House matches, which may not be a hidden gem. The Fatal 4-Way match for the WWF Championship, which gave Psycho Sid
The Final Four. Yeah.
his second WWF Championship
I
ring.
actually forgot about that one.
That was very much a hidden gem. Yeah.
That basically, if anything kicked off the Attitude Era, it had to be that match. if anything kicked off, Austin 316, it was that match because it set off the stage between him and Brett, which I still think is still a top 5 WrestleMania match all time between him and Brett. And Taker, who at that point did not get much title opportunities, set the stage between him and Psycho Sid. And this is around the time Brett basically turned from the babyface that he was for like a good that 3.5 year period to, you fucking screwed me. You screwed me, Vince. It's bullshit. Tearing stuff down. And then him and Shawn, that beef really, really got bad around that time. Because the context behind that match, Shawn lost his smile. And it was supposed to be a rematch of 12, the WrestleMania 12. That was supposed to be the main event, the return match of that year. And Shawn had an injury, and he lost his smile. And Brett was pissed. And he's like, I should still be WWE champion. And those seeds were planted. Then comes the Fatal 4-Way match. Stone Cold, controversially enough, won the Royal Rumble back in '97, where he eliminated Bret Hart. And they had that Fatal 4-Way match, and Taker's man like, I'm not waiting no more. Y'all screwed me enough. I want my title. And Psycho Sid, I felt, had his best year in the company around that time because, the catchphrase, who's the man? Who rules the world? Sid ran the world. And he basically owned it for the better half of '97, with and without the title. And it was a very great match. It showed a lot of other guys, display. And that was the beginning of where Taker showed more to his arsenal as a superstar. Like he was around the Lord of Darkness around this time. He began to show more aerial displays, more versatility, and showed the fact that Taker got hands. And it was a great match. So I just wanted to add that nugget in terms of Your House. So I want to conclude with that.
Most definitely. So from the In Your Houses of yesteryear to the In Your House right now, obviously with the pay-per-view this weekend, we have matches and we have some predictions. Kicking it off with Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. Who's going to win? Who do you have?
Me, I'm starting first. I'm going with Damian Priest. Damian Priest needs this W because he's lost to Keith Lee twice for that North American Championship, once in a triple threat match and another in a singles match. Damian Priest needs something, and I think he needs this win against Finn Balor more than Finn Balor needs it against Damian Priest. And I know Finn Balor has kind of been iffy on NXT because y'all know the original plan was for him to fight Walter at NXT TakeOver Dublin, but with everything that's happened now, they pushed that all the way back to October. And Finn is floundering right now. But when I look at who needs the W more, it's got to be Damian Priest. So I'm going with Damian Priest, and I don't think he'll win it clean. It's going to be some shenanigans, but I think Damian Priest walks out with the W, and he needs it more. So, Priest.
All right. Feather in the cap for Damian Priest. What you say, Kid Dynamite?
I look at Damian Priest kind of in a similar situation to where like Baron Corbin was when he was first in NXT, especially aesthetically. And if history goes off of anything, I think this match can be good. I know Damian Priest has been kind of iffy in NXT. Like, it really depends sometimes with performances for some people. But Finn Balor being in NXT, his pacing and the way that he carries himself in the ring is what I wish more of the current generation was, because it's a controlled crazy where, like, he knows where to amp up. He knows when to slow things down. He has that old school mentality, but has the foresight to use some of the new school type, like, ramp up moments to really get you invested in the matches at the moments that you need to have him invested. I think he can bring Damian Priest to a good, I mean, we saw him as Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor. Like, I think he can do it. And I do think Damian Priest needs the victory. I feel bad for Finn. I feel like this man should be champion at this point with the way his momentum was at a point. And it's just like, this is why I hate this NXT World Championship scene, because it's just like,
we get into it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
it's
but
all.
Yeah, Damian should win. I think Finn is going to prove to the world why he's one of the best workers in the world again.
Oh, I can't wait, man. I hope that match kills it. It should be the opener, if anything.
Big E, what are you thinking, man? Finn Balor versus Damian Priest.
I originally had written down Finn Balor, but you know what?
Ooh. Go out on a limb, man. Go rogue, man. Go rogue.
I'm gonna stay different. I'm gonna go with Finn Balor. I'm gonna be the different one. I think Finn needs the win right now. Especially with the momentum going with the whole Walter situation. They need to build him up to be that guy that's gonna say, "Yo, I'm gonna beat Walter." Because
I mean, that's till October though, man. They got months to do that.
But you still gotta build it up, yo. You gotta get hype about it.
I mean, you can't. Walter ain't doing shit anyway.
Get hype, bro.
Yo, this is why we gotta have you watching '96, Gene. Because if you watch '96, stories be starting in January, and you gonna remember the entire time.
Don't end until like April.
Right. Like this long-term booking, I know it's like a relic of the past more times than not, but yo, it worked. God damn it.
People's Champ, what say you? What you thinking?
Of course, I have my boy Finn, but considering what Gene said, considering what the future GOAT said, Damian Priest will not win by pinfall or submission. He'll win by hook or by crook, not by his own hand. Since we're preaching continuity here.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Exactly.
But say it anyway.
There's a certain tag team, newly crowned tag team in NXT, who haven't forgotten what Finn Balor did to them when they were in England before they came over here for COVID. So
that's not where I thought you were going.
I'm damn sure to believe that Imperium will grace their sacred ring and beat down Finn Balor with referee turned around and Damian Priest incapacitated. And then when the match is all well and done, Damian Priest will pick up the victory over Finn Balor, progressing the story between Volta and Finn Balor. The Ring General!
Okay.
I ain't
and
gonna
the
lie
Prince.
to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. Randy done swerved me twice in that one soliloquy. Like he swerved.
I thought that's a pretty good idea.
I thought he said Finn Balor at first, and I was like, all right, cool. And then he went Damian Priest. I was like, wait, what? And then he went to the whole thing, and it was like, that being said, I have to agree with the rest of it. I don't mean to go against Finn Balor. I love my boy Finn.
We all love him.
Of course, Damian Priest does need the victory a lot more, especially during this time as Keith Lee is in the championship scene. He needs another opponent in the event that he does retain the title. Speaking of Keith Lee versus Johnny Gargano, where do you guys think that's gonna go? I'll start with People's Champ. I'm gonna start with People's Champ, work my way down.
In the way of Keith Lee, he retains his title, but there might be a disqualification in that match.
I watched too much damn. Next, Big E.
Yo, man. I'm gonna go with again being different. I'm gonna go with Gargano on this one. 2-time NXT North American champion. He's made history before. He's gonna make history again. Simple as that.
With that, I like that. Kid Dynamite.
I like Gargano when he's controlled. Like I was a big advocate for Gargano back when the DIY days, pre-DIY days. Like he's always had his spells of like doing too much, and I feel like sometimes like I feel like him and Seth Rollins are kind of similar in the sense that they're in their head, they doing too much, they think they're doing the right thing, and then years later they're gonna look at it and be like, yeah, I could have. So for me, like I want Keith to win. But I'm starting to question whether they want Keith to go after the big chip. Like I'm starting to wonder if. Now here's my thing. I don't want Keith to I want Keith to drop it to Damian Priest or somebody who actually needs this belt. Gargano is trying so hard not to get on this main roster. He's just trying to extend his life down here with everything that he can do. And
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him, but in the same token, it's like. This is you're already exhausted, and I already feel exhausted with you being healed now. It's like, so for me, I kind of want Keith to continue on this victory. I like the prospect of Candice LeRae and Mia Yim continuing the feud as well. Like when you used to play like a SmackDown or an old season mode, you had like side missions where you had to play as other characters. that are tied to your story. I would like to see that because I know Candace and Mia can kill it. Why is Candace's hair purple? What happened? What did I miss? That it's just all right. She turned heel, hair purple. Do that with Mia Yim. I need to stop seeing Gargano everywhere. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go with Keith Lee on this one. I know it ain't gonna happen, but I know.
All right, Keith Lee. Future GOAT.
All right. With what he said about when it comes to like the people involved. First of all, I'm gonna start with Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae's heel turn to me is weird. Like every time I see her, I don't take her seriously as a heel. I really don't. I just look at her. I'm just like, wait. I know the reason why she's a heel because of all she's tired of taking L's on this roster and her husband turned heel, so it was just said, you know what, let's make her turn heel too. But I just look at that, I'm just like, even like what Ty said with the purple hair, I'm like, what the hell? Like,
it's not bad ideas. It's like, why has everyone got to turn heel to be interesting in the women's division?
Yeah, and that's what I was about to go to. That's my problem. Is like I don't get why it was her that had turned. Like to me, when I saw Candice LeRae, I thought she could easily be number 1 or number 2 babyface in NXT because she just exhibits somebody that I want to cheer for. I want her to do well. I'm gonna support whatever she support her road to champion. I honestly thought that she should have been the one. Like I still believe. Like obviously, if it wasn't for Rhea Ripley's Survivor Series push, I had originally pushed for Candice LeRae to be the one to beat Shayna Baszler because the storyline between those two made perfect sense to me. But then, of course, Rhea Ripley's rise to stardom came, and it just made sense to put the title on Rhea Ripley other than Candice LeRae. Now we go to Mia Yim. Mia Yim, I'll be honest with y'all, I'm not sold on her either or. Ty's telling me she can perform, put on some good matches. I have yet to see a match where Mia Yim has impressed me.
Have I led you astray ever since we?
No. See, my brother, that's why I'm gonna believe what you're saying. I'm just letting you know as of right now. Ever since she's been here, I haven't been sold on her matches. I haven't been sold on her promo. Like I get when they did that promo package, showing us who she is, where she came from. I respect the grind, I do. But I'm like, here, I'm just looking like none of your matches impress me. None of your promos impress me. Your look doesn't impress me. It's just like I don't see this. I've seen this street look before, I'm not sold on it. Now, when it comes to the match, Keith Lee Gargano, I'm going with Keith Lee. First, I was gonna say he beat him clean, but then I think it was Randy who brought up Randy or Jay who brought up a good point, that Keith Lee could win by DQ or something. Because I think they should extend this feud a little more. Okay, and what you said about Mia Yim and Candice LeRae, they could make a good feud. I know Candice LeRae, she's a good wrestler. She's had matches that she's definitely impressed me in what she's done. So hopefully she can get that out of Mia Yim, even though you say Mia Yim's a great wrestler. I hope she can get that out of her so that I can say, okay, you know what? I could see a Mia Yim being an NXT Women's Champion one day. Because right now I'm not sold on her. But I'm going with Keith Lee. He wins by some nook or crook. Not intentionally, but it just happens that way. It just happens that way. Hell, Mia Yim could probably be the reason why he wins the thing. Another thing, though, I had no idea Keith Lee and Mia Yim were a thing. I thought they were just friends. It was until this feud got started. I was like, oh, he's actually smashing that. Good for him. Good for him.
It is skin. Yeah.
Or he is limitless.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, for me, I'd have to, in some ways kind of agree where me and Gene, your direction and Randy's direction is, but I'm gonna just go out on a limb and just say Gargano wins it.
That's why you blend in with the dresser behind you.
Just because, hey, listen, it is what it is. But at the end of the day,
I was talking about your shirt, by the way.
I know. I'm not blind, man. I ain't colorblind. I see. I know what you're saying when you're saying it. It's all good. But as it pertains to the match, if you want to progress the feud and you want it to end in a DQ, I think that a better way to do it, at least in my mind, is for the heel to seek the better way out on the return match as opposed to the first match. Because why would Johnny Gargano want I know WWE has this thing where the heel doesn't have the title, disqualifies himself, even though he inherently doesn't get another title match, in storyline. But if you, by shenanigans, win, and then that return match that Keith Lee is angry and searching for that semi-blood feud and trying to go after that title again, I feel like it makes better sense in my mind that Johnny Gargano is that chicken shit heel who wins the title and basically does anything to keep it, despite him being basically like long drawn out on NXT, because I do agree.
Yeah, but if Keith Lee wins in a certain way, Keith Lee could win in a certain way that pisses Johnny Gargano off, because Johnny Gargano's whole heel shtick is that he's a whiny bitch. If we're being really honest, like he's complaining about everything. That's exactly what it is.
I agree wholeheartedly, but it's like if he continues to, like, if he loses this match, which again is understandable, like it could go either way in my mind. I'm just picking on a whim here, but in terms of storyline, like how I personally would like see the storyline, like, hey, listen, if you're a chicken shit heel, you have whatchamacallit, wife who is also a talent, who is essentially, you know, the Natalia of the NXT. You turned heel just because you've been the bridesmaid, never the bride. So in that case, do something that validates you being heel.
Like, no, if you want Gargano to lose and not look, you know, bad, you could always do the whole Christian capital punishment thing with Randy Orton, where like maybe Keith Lee hits a move, you know, it's 1, 2, and his leg's on the rope, and then the referee misses it. You know, you can do something like that. So.
Yeah, there we go. Something to that effect. I feel like that would pique more interest, because that would play into the intellect of Johnny Gargano and the fact that he considered himself not only the heart of NXT, but the best wrestler in NXT. So I feel like that would probably be another avenue as well. But
it's gonna be a fun match, man. It's gonna be a fun match.
It's definitely gonna be a fun match. Continuing on from one DIY member to the next, Tommaso Ciampa versus Karrion Kross. Who you got and why? I'm gonna start with Mean Gene.
I'm going with Karrion Kross. This is his first big match since being in NXT. Since debuting in NXT a few weeks ago, and I'll be honest, I'm impressed by this man. Maybe it's because of the entrance. I think the entrance just gets me. Like I've automatically gravitated to this guy. Like obviously, like some more. Like he's not. I'm not saying he's not polishing the ring, because again, he's facing scrubs right now, so they're not really giving him time to show everything he's doing. But I think this match with Tommaso Ciampa is gonna show us more of Karrion Kross, because this match is gonna go for a while. I think it's gonna go for a while. It ain't gonna be no 5-minute match. It's probably gonna go maybe 10, 15 minutes. Hell, it can go 20 if he's that good. But I don't know if he's that good yet. So maybe 10, 15. But I'm saying Karrion Kross gonna walk out with his W, and it's gonna be clean. He's gonna put. I think Ciampa's not gonna tap. I think he's gonna pass out from Karrion's sleeper hold. But yeah, Karrion walks out with the W, and we go from there.
I mean, hey, listen, if there's any indication, that match, or even just that, you know, the whole program between those two in that particular pay-per-view could go 10 minutes alone just on Tommaso Ciampa's pimp walk. But that's neither here nor there. Kid Dynamite, what say you?
All right. I'm gonna just. Karrion Kross is a talent that I knew just off of his credentials. Like, he's very legitimate. He adds an element of legitimacy that only a couple of wrestlers, like every wrestler in there is legit a great talent, but in terms of his skill set, he adds sort of like this mix, like he kind of blends the line between wrestling and mixed martial arts for some people in a way that's more favorable to pro wrestling, because it kind of reminds you of like the catch wrestlers of old. Like he, to me, is someone they're gonna have to build around in this brand for years, because he can be one of the best assets that they have, honestly.
I agree.
Face or heel. Don't Samoa Joe this man, please. Just give him what he actually needs. Because look, this is an interesting scenario, because he's getting a hell of a debut with Tommaso Ciampa. If that doesn't show they have some sort of faith in you, I don't know what does. So all I ask is that Tommaso Ciampa not do those crazy no-sells he did in the Adam Cole series. And it's funny to you, I cried. Because this man, guy.
I'm not gonna lie, though. I know what you mean. There were some parts during that Adam Cole match.
This is why I don't like this top 4 in NXT. I don't like this top 4 in NXT. They be doing things they just like.
Wait, I know it's Gargano, Ciampa, Cole, and who's the other one?
Whoever they picked that week, because that oh my god. Anyway, Karrion Kross, I hope you win. I hope you go far. I hope that you do your thing. You the man right now. In terms of how you built, you can be the man down the road. So
that's a fact.
How you seen getting the W though? You think Ciampa passing out in the ring?
Ciampa can pass out. He can get knocked out. He can get kneed to death. It doesn't matter. It just has to be a strong looking victory, because if you're gonna put him in that type of position, If the man gets gypped out of a win, or if he loses or if he wins in a convincing fashion, then you're not doing the character any favors.
No shenanigans from Scarlett, right?
I mean, we could do that later. I don't think it's right now. If they could do it to extend the program, but they shouldn't. That's my opinion.
Right, agreed.
Yeah, establish them right. Just to honestly, like, establish them right. Eric B, Big E, what you thinking?
Yo, man, I got Karrion Kross for the win, yo. Simple as that. The guy's hot right now. You know, I had to beat Tommaso, but, you know, like my brother said, man, you put him up against one of your top stars that's in NXT, that shows a lot of faith, and that shows that they're going to push you to the moon. So I got to go with Karrion Kross on this one.
I'm gonna start calling him Killian Cross now because I don't like having to use either or name.
You already got Killian
like
Dane. You can't use Killian no more.
Yeah.
You turn him low key light skin with that. Yeah, Killian.
Hmm.
You sound like you get drafted to the NBA tomorrow.
Hey, man.
People's Champ, what you thinking? You thinking Karrion Kross?
Hey, man. Y'all know how much I love Tommaso Ciampa.
You know, man.
That's my guy. It's my guy. But it's time to fall and pray because Karrion Kross is here to stay. And Scarlett by his side, based from his previous stops, he is someone like Tyler and Gene have mentioned. You can build around him. This is someone that if you want a top star in NXT right now to build around, it's him. Like, with Adam Cole, I love the, Undisputed Era. But if you want to build around somebody you want to legit build around before you call him up or whatever you got to do with him, he is that guy. And
imagine those matches, him versus Fish and O'Reilly.
Like,
oh God. That's gonna be fun.
He is legit. There's certain people you can say when they come through, when WWE signs somebody, like, yo, he's good. He can be good. Then you worry about when he gets to the main roster because you know what they're going to do with him. I don't worry about that with Karrion Kross. He is legit. And Tommaso's going to give him everything that he has. There's a possibility he passes out because he will not tap out.
Mm-hmm.
You either do one or two things. You have to knock that boy out cold, or you're going to basically tap him out like how Samoa Joe did the Finn. minus the saliva.
The spit came out of his mouth.
Yeah. Minus the saliva.
In addition to what you're saying, man, he could be what Dan Severn and Shamrock should have been.
Boy. And not only that, he got one of the baddest girls in the game. With Scarlett.
Listen, we had our Angel Garza segment of the week. We're not. We had to get back into it. But we got Karrion. Honestly, I can't disagree with you guys. This is his first pay-per-view match. He's gonna get it. And Tommaso saying word to Eric B. Hater had to be him, but he's gonna get taken out.
I love how this is unanimous.
Yeah, man. NXT Women's Championship. We have Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai. Okay, go ahead.
Woo! You already know who I'm going with.
That's why I did it. Okay.
I already know who I'm going with. Listen, it's Rhea's return match, and Rhea's return match is basically in a triple threat. Do I think that's fair for her to have a return match in a triple threat? Nah, not really. I would like to probably see another one-on-one match between Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. But adding Io Shirai into the mix, I think Charlotte's going to be the winner, and Charlotte's going to retain. But Io is going to be the star in this match. She's going to shine in this match. If you have not been a believer of Io Shirai, which is beyond me at least, if you haven't been a believer of her, watch this weekend. I guarantee you she's going to be the star of that match. People are going to be talking about Io Shirai after this match. Guaranteed.
All right. Yeah. Most stuff. Any objections? Anybody have Mean Gene? Who you thinking?
I'm not gonna hold you. Like with like same with Big E. I was thinking Charlotte. The wild card would be Io Shirai actually winning this because I do not see Rhea Ripley becoming NXT champion again. I did not even expect her to be back in NXT. I thought she was gonna go to Raw or something. I did not expect to see her back in NXT whatsoever. I thought she was just done there because after she lost to Charlotte, I was just like, okay, well, that's it. See you on Raw. But then Becky ended up, I'm not saying it's because of Becky that Rhea Ripley's not going to Raw. But I just said it after Becky Lynch's, pregnancy announcement and she left. I just said, you know what? It just makes more sense to have Rhea Ripley here anyway. Plus, they like her. They see her as a future star of this company, which I completely agree with. I think she has all the tools to make it. But when it comes to this match, I think Charlotte Flair is getting W, and I think she's going to take it off Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea Ripley is going to be the one to take that L during the match because Io Shirai should not take this L at all. Not at all, because I see her like she's a future NXT champion. I would not mind if she ends up being the one taking off of Charlotte, because I don't think Io Shirai has any plans to go to the main roster anytime soon. And I know they only put Charlotte there to give NXT some clout, but it's like Charlotte Flair, she's gonna walk out with this. I don't think she's losing it till probably the next Takeover show.
Good time, Mike.
This is the match that I'm looking forward to the most. I've been a pretty big.
I should have said that too. This is the match I was looking. Okay, go ahead, Ty.
I've been a pretty big advocate of the women's division in NXT for a while because it's been the one thing that's constantly brought me joy since the jump. Not to say nothing else has, but it's been so consistent. In terms of what's happened with Charlotte, everybody knows I'm not a big fan of this. And it's just one of those things where it's like, similar to like what I said with Macho Man 92. Vince has certain people that he knows he can rely on putting the title on, whether it's logical or not. He knows he can put the belt on that person and they can draw. And although Charlotte isn't crazy changing the ratings because of the circumstances, he believes it. Now, here's my thing. This can go a number of different ways. I do think Charlotte's taking the dub, as much as I hate to say it. The only problem is that what story builds out of that is what's interesting to me, because all three women have history with each other in some way, shape, or form. So where, Rhea's story is kind of like, I'm trying to redeem myself. I thought I could have beaten Charlotte at WrestleMania. I was on such a hot streak. I am the youngest. I'm the biggest prospect this company has. And she got humbled. I didn't like the fact that was the way it went, but we got to work with what we got now. She got humbled. And it's all about getting her, getting redemption. Now I could see Rhea being the person taking the fall, and that further sets her off. And I could see Charlotte winning, Rhea taking the fall, and Rhea being like, I let myself down again. And because she's so young, they can play off of that and have her turn heel again, which is where I really think she should be. Turn heel again and kind of let that frustration out, being like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of all of this. I'm just going to take it back now. And she could be on like
saying that, sorry to cut you off, but with you saying that, I'm going to pose this question real quick, and you guys can answer it fast. But do you think there might be a double turn between Ripley and Io, if that's a possible?
I think that's something I was also contemplating, because if Rhea turns, if she even just becomes a tweener, and then Io just becomes a full-blown, you want to get behind her type thing. Because I don't know what Io is, to be quite honest. Like, she's kind of just been teetering on everything.
Heel, but we still root for her.
Yeah, like, I think, if anything, they have the opportunity to use Charlotte to propel these two, similar to, like, how Harley propelled Dusty and Ric Flair.
Yeah.
So you could have Charlotte, basically give them the platform to be like, these are the two that are going to take your chip. It's going to be one or the other. And then when your ass is gone, they still gonna be beating each other's ass. And if Io is the top baby face for the NXT Women's Division, then you're damn right it's what needs to happen. And if Rhea's the heel, it'll be so easy for her. And if she's on some Stone Cold 96 type mess, I'm for it. If Io is on her like Bret Hart 96 type mess, I'm for it. Charlotte's purpose is that she has an expiration date in NXT. She's not going to stay for the long term. So her winning will help promote these two. That's what I'm looking forward to. So I say Charlotte, but I love to see what would happen. I think Io's going to have a great performance. I think Rhea is going to do her job. But I really want to see if they're going to pull the trigger on Io being their girl and Rhea being the antagonist in whatever form she is, that wants her chip back. Because playing off of her age, playing off of the rage and the redemption, got a lot of storyline depth with Rhea that you can capitalize on.
Yeah.
People's Champ, what you thinking?
My heart says Rhea, but she ain't 11-time champ for nothing. So I gotta go with Charlotte Flair to take the victory. But I do like the idea of a possible double turn or somewhat of a change or tweak in Rhea Ripley's character. Because I've seen it coming. Even when she lost at WrestleMania, you saw the emotion that came out. So now that she's back, it's like, okay, I regrouped. I think I can win my title back. But after this loss, it kind of changes her a little bit. Just like and it helps Io Shirai. And Io has been putting out banger after banger, like in terms of match quality in NXT. So this could be her shining light. And in my opinion, I'm looking forward to this match too, because it could possibly be one of the best matches, if not the best match on the card.
Mm-hmm.
So what we may see is, I know what Charlotte can do in the ring. She can do this. She can do this back, blindfolded if she wanted to. She knows what she's doing. Rhea Ripley, she's that next star. She's gonna be shot to the moon. But right now, it's kind of like, putting you at the wayside. But Io's probably gonna be the true star of the match. Whether she wins or not, because this finally shows everybody like, oh my gosh, she can hang with Charlotte. Word? Okay.
You didn't get that message already.
I mean, yeah, I was about to say, you didn't get that message when you saw the first match?
No. But these are people who's like, yo, like.
No, and we're saying in addition to what you're saying. Also, fun fact, this is going to be Charlotte. She's going to make history. I think Charlotte's the only person to compete for 3 different women's championships in a triple threat.
Charlotte is going to win. I do believe in some way, to Eric's point, the fact that we could potentially see a double turn, especially in the match with how Io Shirai's performance could possibly play a role in a double turn. And I think we could see 2 things. One, Rhea Ripley essentially like attacking Io Shirai following the match, because Io Shirai is basically like kind of stealing her light, because Rhea Ripley has scouted Charlotte, because like her story arc is that I know I can beat you, like, but I didn't. So essentially what I feel playing throughout the match would probably be Rhea Ripley every single time they're matched up against one another. She basically one-ups Charlotte. Like, I studied you. Like, I basically, like, I learned from my mistakes. I studied you. But even then, Io Shirai is in the way every single time to basically get in the way. And when Io Shirai, in my mind, potentially, like, takes the fall, it's like I did all this work for nothing, and it's because of you. So I potentially see that probably being a thing to the main event. Because of the thigh slappage alone, Tyler may not like this, but Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream. What are we getting? Who are we picking, and why?
Man, I'm going last on this one, so you guys can go ahead.
I'm sorry on this one.
I elect to go last.
Go ahead, get Ty.
Okay, let's get this out the way. I don't hate thigh slaps. I hate stupid thigh slaps. Let's just get that out the way. But here's my thing. Now, Velveteen, I feel like Velveteen's had multiple chances to get this championship that they haven't capitalized on. So in a way, I feel like this is do or die for Velveteen Dream. Like, if he doesn't get it here, you might as well move him to some new scenery, because he's been in NXT as long, like, when Shinsuke was there. You know, like, in terms of his tenure, you could keep him there, but it's like there's only so many stories you can do after a certain point when he's here. So if you want him to win, you have to have him win here. I don't think he will. I think Adam Cole is going to win. And the only reason why is because I feel like there's an underlying story in NXT that people aren't really talking about. I don't know if I've mentioned this to you guys before, but I really do feel like the person that's built to beat Adam Cole is Roderick Strong. And I say that because Roderick Strong has had this underlying story for the past 4 years, where he went back to the time of Bobby Roode. He's always tried to do his best, be the father figure that he is to his son. They did all those promos of Roderick Strong, you know, he's the right type of person. They basically kind of made him into like a Sami Zayn type figure where they had him like, you wanted to see him win, and he was really good at it. He's a really good babyface. And since he's turned heel, he's gotten a lot more charisma. He's showing aspects of himself that you might not have seen in different promotions or different storylines. And, you know, one of the biggest focal points of his story was he turned heel to win a championship, because every time he tried to do it the right way, it never worked.
Mhm.
And I've kind of been waiting for years for them to start having a dissension of the Undisputed Era, where maybe Adam Cole gets too uncomfortable with the fact that Roderick Strong is getting a certain level of momentum behind him to the point where he feels like his spot's being threatened. And I thought we were going to get that when Roderick Strong was the North American champion. So for me, part of me kind of doesn't want Velveteen to win just because I want to see that story realized. I think there's a lot of potential there to have someone like Roderick Strong who, you know, let's be honest, it's going to be tough for him to really do well on either of the other rosters right now. So I kind of want to see that story realized. I would like Velveteen to win, but there's a part of me that doesn't think he's going to win. They've gone full steam ahead with Adam Cole so far for a while. I think they're going to continue to work with that. So,
All right, I gotta go after. I gotta go after him because, dude, we have the similar mindset, man. I also thought Roderick Strong was gonna be the guy to take it off of Adam Cole, and I thought what was going to happen. My original thought was that when Roderick Strong was the first member of the Undisputed Era to lose his championship, and then of course Roderick Strong lost his championship to I believe Keith Lee, but then everybody else in Undisputed Era reclaim their titles, and they would just look at Roderick Strong like, dude, like we had the prophecy, you effed it up, and then Roderick Strong probably fails to regain the title, then they just turn him, like cut him loose, like, you know what, you trash, man, we don't want you no more, which of course leads Roderick Strong to the path where I thought that if it wasn't for coronavirus at NXT, the Tampa show, it was going to the main event would have been Roderick Strong versus Adam Cole for the NXT Championship, and Strong was going to finally pull out the W because Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish already lost their chips, so they would have been already out of the equation. Like, I'm not saying they would have been out of the group, but they wouldn't have been that much of a factor during the match, and Roderick Strong could prove that, no, Adam, I'm better than you, and I'm going to show you that when you kicked me out on the Speed Era, you were wrong. So he would go and win the championship right now. Obviously, that's not where they went with. They went with the Velveteen Dream route, which I'm not completely disappointed in because I like Velveteen Dream. I think he's a top star in this company. Hell, when he goes to the main roster, I selfishly want to see him on SmackDown because, you know, I'm a blue brand guy, and I honestly think he would benefit more being on SmackDown than he would on Raw. But that's my personal opinion, even though I know Paul Heyman, I think he likes Velveteen Dream. And, you know, with these guys that Paul Heyman's got on Raw, like all of them are getting, for the most part, solid pushes on the brand. Like, hell, even Apollo Crews has managed to turn his life around and become United States champion. So
yeah,
it would have been good to see. It'd be good to see Velveteen Dream on the main roster. But right now, I'm going to go with Velveteen Dream just because, like, I know Biggie's probably not going to want to hear this, but I'm tired of seeing Adam Cole as champion. I think he should have lost it at NXT TakeOver Tampa. Like, after he passed Finn Balor as the longest reigning NXT champion, I said, okay, that's it. We're done. Like, that's it. Velveteen Dream walks out here with the W. And I personally believe that they would have done it if it wasn't for the coronavirus thing. I think Velveteen Dream, to me, would have won that title in front of a crowd, would have got a huge pop or whatever, but they just said, nah. Now, granted, it could also be because of those things, that accusation that came out around the time of Velveteen Dream, you know, with the thing he was doing. And we still haven't had an update on what that's going. For me, if Velveteen Dream wins this NXT championship, just tell me that this accusation was just nothing but hot air. So I'm going to go with Velveteen Dream to walk out with this championship. I'm hoping he does because, again, I'm tired of seeing Adam Cole as champion. And I think it's Velveteen Dream time to be champion. But if he doesn't win and he goes to the main roster, I'm perfectly cool with that. I would love to see him on SmackDown anyway. So going with Dream.
People's champ. You were up, man.
All right. My heart says Velveteen Dream. I want him to win, but I know for a fact that that's not going to happen. As Tyler mentioned, there's a story within Undisputed Era that has to be basically has to be told. There's been a story there for the last 4 years that hasn't been told since Adam Cole's came on, and it's about time they go with that story. And as Velveteen Dream, he's had incredible matches, incredible moments, and I truly believe if there's any star that I can think of that I don't mind them calling up, it's him. because you've exhausted every avenue in terms of what you could do with him without a title, or with a title, which he was the former North American champion on the show. You've exhausted.
He was a good champion too.
So even though he's overdue to be a main champion on that roster per se, I would love it. I'd welcome it. But I know at the end of the day, they're gonna probably look at it saying, well, you've kind of exhausted everything that he is down at NXT. Let's see what he can do on the main roster. And he's been basically subtly saying, like, call me up, Vince. I'm ready for the big time. And if anybody know who Velveteen is, since the day he showed up, non-kayfabe, under Tough Enough, he's about this business. He knows what it's all about, and he's still young. The youth on his side.
Bro.
He cares about this business. His passion. His character currently right now, if they do call him up, one thing's for sure, I hope they don't tweak him. I hope they let him do him and let him continue to be who he is. Because we know Vince is famous for fucking up something that he did not create himself.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I want, for me as a fan, I want him to go out there and do his thing and just have fun, which I know he can. And sometimes the fans be like, you should get a title, you should get a title. And don't get me wrong, I'm one of those fans too that, like, I'm one of those fans sometimes that be saying that shit. You don't have to go on the main roster just to get a title right away and just be effective. He can be what Elias has been doing. He can be, well, Elias is basically the example.
You mean early Elias, not this Elias now. You mean Elias when he was over his hell.
Early Elias when he as a character.
Yeah.
Or even Damian Sandow before he became Money in the Bank champion. Money in the Bank.
You could have him slowly build momentum. He don't have to be involved in a big story right away.
Yeah.
You got to manage him.
Yeah,
And plus,
there's the grind, yeah.
And plus,
Yeah, and he proved that with that feud he had with Aleister Black. Dude didn't even have a title during that time, and that feud was the most over thing in NXT around that time. I think it even got feud of the year during that year.
and to add to that, with the call-ups from NXT you called up on Raw, to even the odds, when you bring them to SmackDown, who's on SmackDown? Jay mentioned it like, last week when Riddle got called up to SmackDown. You can slow burn him. Like, you can basically bring him along slowly. He don't have to be immersed in anything. Like, you can have Riddle be like the the RVD of the generation, when he's on SmackDown. And Velveteen could just do him. Be in the mid-card, getting some, low-key feuds, but make it memorable enough to know that people know who you are.
I see him pulling up. I see him pulling up in a segment just on SmackDown where, like, fucking Baron Corbin or Elias or whoever's like an entitled heel, and he just walks up and he just, like, torches their fashion. Like, that's essentially how, like, that's pretty much what it is.
But as pertaining to this main event match, Adam Cole is going to retain.
Okay.
Because as a group, we were all there to see day one of his reign when he was crowned.
Seems like ages ago.
Great day.
And now
Ages ago.
we're 370. Well, we're 360 something days in. We're 368, 369 now.
Yeah, it's 365 plus. We'll just go with that.
Yeah, 365 plus now as champion. He's gonna continue to hold that title until the dissension of the Undisputed Era begins. And in a lot of ways, the reason why they're gonna go that route is an obvious reason, because Adam Cole is Shawn Michaels' son in a sense, because he's down there. He likes the Undisputed Era. He likes what they're about. And before they call him up, he wants to groom them as much as possible and tell as much stories as possible, include them in everything that they're doing before he can say, all right, Vince, I'm ready now. I'm ready to send them up.
I mean, Vince isn't even sold on the Undisputed Era yet, so he's not in any rush to call him up.
And again, that's where it works to the advantage of Shawn Michaels and Triple H, who they do a lot for these people here there in NXT, only for Vince to fuck it up somehow. And this is a good opportunity to continue that story and show how credible Roderick Strong will be. Because we know O'Reilly and Fish will be fine on their own if they do disband or whatever before they revisit that on the main roster. Because they're one of the best tag teams in the game.
Oh yeah.
Adam Cole, you kind of worried about him just a little bit, but he's starting to find himself even within the era. Roderick Strong was the one that you was completely worried about. Like you was like, man, it's like, bro, if something happened to him and they had to break up, I worry about that boy. I mean, in the ring he can go. We know that.
Oh yeah.
So I want them to explore that story. As fans, we need to see that story through. I hope it's not overdone to death, kind of like how the DIY situation was, but I hope it's told in the right way, in that fashion. And I do see Colts coming out NXT champion. It'll be welcome to see Dream take it, but I also do see a scenario that Dream may take it for a short reign and Colt take it back as one of those, like, because NXT's done it before. They've done it before. So whereas like he wins it, has a good run with it, like a small little run with it. Somehow, somebody hook up by crook, Cole takes it back, seizes control. It's like, yeah, the era is fortified. There's no cracks in our wall. There's no chinks in our armor. And then somehow, some way, Roderick Strong is like he emerges as that threat, which kicks off that rivalry. That's just how I see it.
I'm gonna say my opinion. Big E, go ahead.
Oh,
go
yeah,
ahead.
You want to go? Because I was gonna go dead last.
Yeah. Well, hell no to Randy's thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. Hell no, like zero. You can't kind of reinvent the wheel with the whole like thing of him losing the title and then gaining it back. Because at this point, he had it for a year. Like, where else? Like, I don't know, man. Like they feuded and they've done that Velveteen thing.
It'd be kind of redundant to have him lose the title after that giant reign just to get it back a little bit later. So,
because it's like, and then on after that, then to get on Roderick Strong's case. Because if it was gonna be the situation to the point of the whole Roderick Strong situation where he lost the title, it would have been then where Adam Cole was like, "We're the winners, you're the loser." I don't know if they could kind of essentially do that. So with all that being said, and I want to keep it quick because we've gone well into overtime, I'm having Adam Cole as retaining the title. Wonderful showing. Agreeing with everybody on the floor in regards to Velveteen Dream's role on NXT. I consider him kind of in that Tyler Breeze role of where he's always been like upper mid card, and he's kind of had those creative storylines to basically alleviate the fact that he is not just championship, hungry. Eric B, go ahead, brother.
Oh, man. So I elected to go last for a reason. There is undoubtedly no secret how I feel about Adam Cole. There's no secret how I feel about the era. They're my boys.
Biggest supporter.
Biggest number one supporter. I'm not gonna lie, and me and Gene spoke about this too. I did have Velveteen to win. I picked him to win. I picked him only because of the way the storyline is set up in the stipulations. This is basically do or die for him. This is basically what it is. Adam Cole basically, when they did this past NXT's promo, basically what they did was Adam Cole was like, listen, this has to be his last chance. This is last chance. As long as this title is on my shoulder, this is last chance. So they made it that way. So they basically set it up to be Velveteen winning this. But I wouldn't be mad if Adam Cole retains this. And a lot of you guys are saying that Roderick Strong should be the one to take it off of him. I agree with that as well. I wouldn't want to see dissension in the era, to be honest with you guys. I want to see them all come up together. But another person that a lot of people are overlooking, in my opinion, is Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly is one person who I feel like can go with Adam Cole. They've had matches in the past in Ring of Honor, you know, and they put on great matches together. So I wouldn't mind it being Roderick Strong or Kyle O'Reilly, but I don't think they want to break up Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish in that sense of them not being a tag team anymore. They're synonymous together. It's like you can't have one without the other. You got to have both. But I'm going to go on a limb. I hate to go against my boys. I hate to do it. But I'm going to go Velveteen Dream for the win only because of how they have it set up. But this will start the dissension in the era. I don't think that you can still do an Adam Cole, Roderick Strong match without a title on the line, just to simply say that I'm the leader. I'm the leader. I've been carrying you guys, and this is what it is. And Roderick Strong, you're probably the reason why all of this is happening. You're the one who started this domino effect of us losing these titles. You started. You lost your North American Championship, then the tag team titles fell, and now I lost my title. And, of course, the old adage goes, first one in. Well, last one in, first one out. It's going to happen.
That's a good point. We could have that same angle without the belt. It's very possible.
Exactly.
You trying to make me switch my choice. I'm sticking to it. I'm scared now, but I'm a stick to my choice.
He made a good point.
When we look at the Undisputed Era, it's always it should have been always a three-man group. We know why Roderick Strong was in there because, like Ty said, he wanted a title, and he saw that he couldn't get it by normal means. So he's just like, all right, screw it. I'm just going to join the Era. And to Roderick Strong's credit, he has been a very valuable asset of the Era just because, like, when the guys like Bobby Fish, when he was injured, Roderick Strong stepped up. He was in those he was in those tag team title matches.
They got the illest tag combos on the planet.
Exactly.
Oh,
I honestly was surprised. Like, the thing about Roderick Strong that I think a lot of people except for us, we don't give enough credit for is the fact of how easily he was able to blend with Kyle O'Reilly as a tag team and then blend with Bobby Fish as a tag team. Because Kyle O'Reilly is out right now because of the Corona stuff, so he's not coming on TV. So Roderick Strong is now with Bobby Fish, but Roderick Strong has been able to blend with both Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish and has been able to put on a clinic every single time. So Roderick Strong gets mad props for that. But in general sense, the Era has always been a three-man group. Roderick Strong was there as a placeholder, and I think he honestly shouldn't be there anymore. So we can go with that. So when they go to the main roster, I'm expecting three dudes. I'm not expecting four members to show up to the main roster when it's time.
You're obviously looking forward to and anticipating.
Yes.
But as for now, I think it's time to sign off. I think People's Champ, you do the honors, brother, in regards to following and tweeting and all that stuff. Go ahead.
Just follow us on Facebook at the Backstage Brawl. Subscribe to our YouTube page at Backstage Brawl /ROW, where all 4 episodes will be there. And episode 5, as we're recording right now, will be curated, edited, and uploaded to the show. So this
I love the enthusiasm. But why you sound like William Shatner?
I thought it was more like
I've been watching a lot of Star Trek.
For myself, Golden Child, Diamond Cutter, the future GOAT, Kid Dynamite, and the People's Champ. We're out.
We're out, baby.